Welcome to Georgia Highlands College Math 97 and Math 99 video tutorials. In this video segment, we'll be answering the question, how do you factor a trinomial in two variables in which the leading coefficient is 1? Well, it's about the same process that you take when you're factoring a trinomial whose leading coefficient is 1 that's just in one variable. We follow the same steps. Set up your factors. Secondly, you're going to ask yourself, what factors of C add to make B? Thirdly, we'll fill in those factors, creating our factored form, and then we'll end up checking with multiplication. So let's take a look at an example. As you can see here, I have a trinomial that actually has two variables in it. One of the variables is x, showing up in the form of x squared here and x here. And then I have a y and a y squared. So I have two variables, x and y. So if you think about it before you ever get started on the actual problem, just like we saw with x squared plus bx plus c, we knew we had to multiply the first terms of both binomials to make the x squared term. Well, it's going to have the same idea with the y squared term on the end. So we know, not including the 3 here, we'll deal with that in a minute, but we know that we had to multiply y by y to make this y squared term on the end. So to set up, to get ready to factor this, I need to make sure that I have a place for the sign, either positive or negative. And then I also need to have a place for the factors that make up the coefficient of that last term. So I have spaces here and here. From here on out, it's the same exact process that we talked about with x squared plus bx plus c. So I'm going to make my factoring TP again, and I'm going to ask myself, what are the factors of 3? So we want to put our multiplication symbol there to show we're going to multiply up to make 3, that add to make b, which in this case is -4. So we're looking for the numbers that multiply to make +3, but add to make -4. So if you think about that, you're going to have two negative numbers, because a negative times a negative is a positive, but a negative plus a negative is a negative. So if you think about it, the factors of 3 are simply 1 and 3, but we need to take them in their negative form. So -3 and -1. -3 times -1 gives us +3, and -3 plus -1 gives us 4. So we've found the factors that we need to use to fill in the blanks up here. -3 and -1. So we've got our factored form of our trinomial as x minus 3y and x minus, we don't write 1y because it's understood when it's multiplied that the 1 is there. We just write x minus y. Now let's check this just to be sure. So x minus 3y times x minus y. Good old distribution, multiplying each term in the first binomial with each term in the second binomial. X times x yields x squared. X times y is x times negative y is negative xy. Negative 3y times x is negative 3 xy. Once again, we like to keep things in alphabetical order. And negative 3y times negative y is positive 3y squared. Combining our like terms here in the center, we end up with x squared minus 4xy plus 3y squared, which is the same polynomial that we began with. Therefore, x minus 3y times x minus y is the factored form of this polynomial. I hope that this has been helpful for you to understand how to factor a trinomial in two variables with a leading coefficient of 1. If you have any other questions regarding this method, please contact your Highlands instructor.